Daniel, we have the projectionist, the fortune cookie writer, the Conan writer, the brilliant, the brilliant, amazing comic with a great laugh and a kind soul and son, and she's just a terrific person. We're so lucky to have Laurie Kilmartin here. I can't believe it.
Yay!
And we've been trying to get her here too.
Yay! Finally.
Thank you for
Happy
being
to have
here
you.
with us.
And in person. We're excited about that.
Yeah. I'm excited
how are you?
Too. I'm okay. I'm good.
Good to see you.
What a relaxing home you have.
Oh,
like there's just this air of serenity that even though you have like a dog, it doesn't exist in my life. Not even in a corner of
As
it.
I say, we're going right into senior living.
I can't wait. I used to there's this place called Rossmore from where I'm from in Walnut Creek, and grew up making fun of it because that's where the old people lived. And then I visited my mom's friend who lives there, and I'm like, this is amazing. There's peacocks roaming all over the place.
Yeah.
There's little helpers to help you walk. I mean, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can't wait.
My great grandmother she was born in 1895 and she lived forever. So she was in a nursing home in the middle of nowhere, Texas, which was horrifying, right? It was very scary, but this is in the early 90s and stuff. So it was like legit scary.
So she hit like 100 years old?
98. She made it to 98, but I knew her. We could talk to her, all this stuff. Knew someone from the 1800s. And so it really scared me. And then my grandmother got into a nursing home that was like that. It was like a party, and there were all these things. But the one thing she had a satin necklace with the little satin bag on it. And she goes, "You're never gonna guess what's in here." And she poured it out, and it was all these salt and pepper things. She goes, "They never give you enough."
Oh, that's so funny. I thought it was going to be condoms.
No, she'd been stealing it from the invalids that she was sitting next to at lunch.
I always bring salt packets with me on the road.
See, really?
Yes.
Yeah, that's so funny.
It's a good lunch if my mom and I can have like chips and salsa, and we each get our own salt shaker.
Yes,
like how
I know.
sick is that?
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
I want my face to be swollen.
Yeah. When you want to salt a bite and somebody else is,
hogging it. Yes.
those few seconds are agony.
I was at
There won't be any left.
I was at an airport restaurant, and they had this like chips and salsa that had whatever. They were perfect. They were like pre-salted, and they were perfect. And sometimes I'll just stop dead in my tracks wherever I am and just go, those chips. Like I can't get enough of it. They were so good.
Before we started, Laurie, you were saying you and your son Atticus went to a town council meeting or city council meeting.
Yeah.
Is there a town council?
It's a small town.
A city council meeting.
Yeah.
And and he wanted to complain about the bathrooms in
its high school and stuff.
In his high school, yeah.
We just went to watch government in action because I actually haven't done that thing in person, and it was cool. And they had proclamations, and they had people, getting their proclamation, and some civil engineers were getting a proclamation for how hard they work on the streets. And I'm like, yeah, these are like, we all sort of hang out with comics or comedy people and people that are like really charismatic and funny. And it's like, oh yeah, there's just a bunch of normal people. Like my dad was a civil engineer. Like I was like, that's what your grandpa was more like. I know you're meeting a bunch of stand-ups, but actually, there's
This is what real life is like.
Yeah, people have real normal jobs, and every once in a while they get a proclamation from the mayor, and that probably hangs in their house, for a couple
It's in their
years.
obituary. That
For sure.
proclamation is mentioned in the obituary.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because I was saying too, like that, when women are, when they get an award, for directing, it's so rare, and then they say, well, this is for women everywhere, and my bit is that it isn't really, but if you go into a ladies' room and it smells bad and it's dirty, that's a loss for women everywhere. That's so like instant.
Whatever. I worked in a zillion restaurants and had to clean the restrooms.
Gross.
It is humiliating.
Yeah.
But hands down, the women's room is a way bigger pigsty than the men's room.
I know, that's so sad. I
Men
don't like
just
that.
smell gross, but women, it's like there's paper everywhere.
I mean, we do have extra activities that are happening there.
Correct. Yeah,
but,
it's true.
But I do feel like some people are just, they're rude. They're just like, it's someone else's problem. I'll just leave this tampon right here, or I won't pick it up if it dropped or something.
It was in the men's room that I got accused of this because I was cleaning, but it wasn't me. On the pull down for diapers or whatever, you do that, and they have them in men's room because men have evolved. But it was called the Duty Station, and some man had graffitied it into Dookie Station, and I was like, "See, that's
I don't even know what dookie means.
Dookie means shit. You don't know that word? Dookie?
No,
You do not know that word?
No.
You do.
I do. Yeah.
So when
Isn't there a song like do it for the
Green Day.
something for the Dookie?
I did all for the Nookie.
Oh,
That's
sorry.
that.
Maybe.
No, that's Limp Bizkit, right? I did all for the Nookie, but Green Day had an album
I did
called
all
Dookie.
for the dookie. The dookie.
I may have heard like a bad parody of the Limp Bizkit.
Oh, it might have been Weird Al.
Yeah.
If I was talking to someone trying to describe, and I said it like a garment or something, they say it's Dookie Brown. To me, that paints an immediate, accurate picture of what I'm talking about.
That makes me think of like a Southern governor. Or,
Please welcome to the stage, Dookie Brown. That's your drag queen name. No. Yes. No, I want you. That's if you're ever on the city council. That's what your city council name has to be.
all right.
Oh, would you ever run for city council? Do either of you feel that connected? Or
Civil. I'm too angry when it comes to shit like that.
Yeah.
So I'm a bad messenger.
Yeah.
I think they'll table it.
what I love is like people, whatever they're saying, they're usually very passionate about it, and they're nervous and all that kind of stuff. But then, ding, that little thing, and it's like, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
They power down and go away.
They're
Yeah, because they
done.
could keep going and going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in Austin, Texas, that's where the capital's there, and it's a small city, so it's real easy to run down if there's a protest or something like the Wendy Davis. I was
Right.
there. I wasn't at the Capitol for that, but I was in the city, and like you could just
Wow.
tell something was happening because people were there. So it's like very common to run down and see the bullshit up close.
She filibustered for like 24 hours
It was.
straight,
I feel like it was
maybe?
longer, but yes, it was this record-breaking filibuster, and she, wore sneakers and stuff,
Yeah.
and it was for abortion rights
Right.
and that whole thing. Back, God, that was like 2016 or 2017,
Yeah, it was a
somewhere
while
in
ago.
there. And landmark, and then she ran for governor. I don't know, and was defeated because people hate women who speak up, and especially
Yeah.
in Texas. But yeah, she and like Cecile Richards, Liz knows her. Liz Winston
Oh, yeah,
is really into Wendy Davis.
We forgot to introduce the new baby too.
Oh yeah,
Look at Lammy.
This is
Incredibly relaxed.
Lammy.
Yes.
Lammy. I've
He's
been calling him
chilling.
Lammy. Oh.
It goes
Lemmy.
different. He can be Lemmy.
Or
I call him
Lemmy.
Lam sometimes.
Isn't there a rock star named Lemmy? Lemmy?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Who was he?
He was in Hawkwind and Motorhead.
Right.
punk-
Hell yeah.
punk
Yeah,
guy.
Good
that's how I'll
comeback.
the French version will escape my brain, but
Yeah.
Lemmy from Motorhead, I got it.
What's your? Are
sweet
you into music? Like, what do you listen to? Or have you ever been?
Yeah, I guess so. I kind of listen to what's served to me, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Music used to make me happy, like give me passion and
Yeah.
stuff, and now it's
Me
just
too.
flat. Like it's
Yeah.
nothing.
Like I did go through a Springsteen phase that was very intense.
Can I tell
know?
you?
Well, I was just gonna say too. Like there's some, I noticed that there's certain people that I've dated that they've ruined albums for me.
Oh yeah.
Like Tim, the Replacements album, Tim. That when I was with someone who broke up with me, and I was like, oh shit, now I can't hear that because I feel bad.
What's that? Sha la 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 la. That song? La ti da. Who is that? La ti da. What is that song? Yes.
Yes.
So that
Yeah.
song. So we're fucking on a road trip, and my sister wants. When you're in the backseat and you have no jurisdiction over what's being played, but my parents she liked that song, and they did too because it was old. So they just played it over and over and over again.
Oh my God.
And she would over enunciate the la ti da, and I was like, it's la di da. No one says la ti da, it's la di da. And then she just sit there and fucking hit that T every time it came back
Oh
on.
man.
It's all right. My revenge was
no,
Tori Amos. I was
I
like, it's my turn.
But then he
remember
turned into an anti-vaxxer. It's like, oh, come
See,
on.
I hate that.
I wish just stop talking, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, let us like you for 2 seconds longer. I remember I was waiting waiting in line in the supermarket, and that song came on, My Brown Eyed Girl, right?
Oh, yeah, Brown Eyed
And this one, and it was cute. This young Mexican girl said, "Oh, that's what my boyfriend sings to me," and then this girl said, "That's everybody's song. Everybody has brown eyes."
Did you hear the North Carolina law about the mask wearing?
I think it was shot down by somehow. I don't remember the
governor.
particulars, and they're going to try to revamp it to have
Yeah.
a health exclusion. But like,
Because it didn't.
yeah,
It's illegal to wear a mask in public, even if you have a medical reason.
What?
Yeah.
But I thought they had to cut out an exemption for members of the KKK.
Shut up.
I think so. I'm not kidding. I think so.
God bless.
Unless somebody
America.
wrote some incredible satire, but I think
Wow.
A mask is technically not a hood. So I
if
guess
it's attached to the hood, it's a hat.
We
Sorry.
love a loophole. KKK loves a loophole. That's so crazy. Have you ever thought about, because you're an excellent writer, and I think politics could use some of that like clever writing to like skirt things by or like redress it officially. Like there's a humorous way to get, just like you said, like hilarious satire. Is politics like, because you're active on Twitter.
Yeah.
But does it totally repel you, or is it something that you would ever be interested in?
It totally repels me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. But
I
as a
liked
comedian,
seeing it on the local level, though. It felt like it was the least corrupt level of politics because you know they're so close. You know, they
we know where
live
they live
next door to you. Yeah, right.
They don't have as good a security.
Yeah.
But as a like comic, I don't know, because I feel like there's like a you're not supposed to be a political comedian, or it turns people off. But you kind of talk about everything in your
Well,
stand-up.
when I don't really talk directly about politics. You know, I can't seem to get a laugh when I do it. I don't know. Maybe my voice changes or I get really angry or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I have to follow what gets a laugh. Otherwise, I'm just
To have a
ranting.
point of view, yeah.
Yeah, but I try to like in however ways I do it, I try to insert a point of view, but not super. I find that if you know, if you're working conservative areas, as long as you don't say certain words, people don't get mad.
they won't turn on you.
They may not laugh as much.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
they might get suspicious.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I think you're woke, but
You're
you're
trying to sneak
don't
something
say
in.
Biden,
Yeah.
then they can't. You know.
Oh my God. It's like, because when Trump first got into office, then everybody's talking about him. And so every comic would say it, and you could see the whole audience's body language change in either
You can't.
direction.
It's almost impossible to say anything new or fresh about Trump.
100%.
Yeah.
How can you?
But
Yeah.
now Biden, when you say him, and I witnessed the same thing. If you say his name, the crowd just kind of shifts and like
Yeah.
gets ready for whatever they think is
I'm
coming.
not
on
on either side. I think they're both like grandfathers that I would you know try to shuffle off into some place. But you know,
Yeah.
I think that Biden is starting to remind me more and more of the General on Soap. Do you remember the sitcom Soap?
I had a crush on Jimmy Bayo.
Oh God, okay.
Yeah.
That it may have just been reactivated.
Yeah.
now that I remember him,
amazing.
because I was
Okay.
like everyone else, like Scott Baio, but I'm original. I'm special. I like Jimmy.
I couldn't get over the Scott Baio like 80s haircut. I could never get over the Charles in Charge that
Yeah,
weird.
right.
Who's the lady from Three's Company? Not
Suzanne Summers,
the other one.
Joyce DeWitt.
He had Joyce DeWitt's haircut.
We had her.
Joyce DeWitt.
yes.
But Scott Baio had Joyce DeWitt's hair.
Yeah,
and I could never get
that's
over that.
true.
It never made him sexy to me.
Yeah.
I love. Did you ever meet Suzanne Summers? Did you?
No.
Oh, do you
She's
like?
not dead, is she?
Yeah. She
Oh,
died.
wait, she did die.
She died.
Her vagina's still alive though.
Is Alan still alive?
Yeah, he is.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a marriage.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: she was a big health person, right?
Yeah.
And look at her.
Well, she used to
Dead.
give herself injections there.
all that.
Yeah.
What do you mean there? In her ass?
No, in her vagina.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
To
For
keep
what?
it
I guess.
keep it talking.
Yeah, just to make a
See-
terrarium and to keep things growing. I fucking don't know actually, but
Some
I know
people
I
get-
remember reading that she injected herself there.
When they get that healthy,
Yeah.
then they start going, I know better than doctors.
Right.
And it's like, I don't need chemo. I've got these herbs. Like, you might need chemo.
I have.
right? Oh yeah.
I have an
My
aunt.
cousin's in that a little bit.
Yeah.
Also dead, but she years before she died, she had a stroke, and she treated herself with castor oil.
I was about to bring it up. I am obsessed with castor oil.
Wow. Your
Is
hair is
it-
beautiful. Do you use it on your hair? Because your hair looks really shiny.
Oh, thank you. No, I'm trying it on my. I'm using it on my knees, on my shoulders, joints,
Mm-hmm.
because I have joint pain, and then eyebrows and eyelashes because I've heard it's good for hair growth.
I got into like essential oils. Like I smash a bunch of oil in my face and stuff. I use it from, but not castor oil. Who's the name? Casey, Edgar Casey. Is that his name? He was he was a what do you call it when you're psychic?
A mystic or something
yeah,
like
something
that?
like that.
Yeah.
So Edgar Casey he channeled.
Right.
And then he hired a man to dictate while he channeled, but he was the health nut. Like what are the crazy soaps? I can't remember fucking anything today. I have puppy brains. The Dr. Bronner's. You know how
Okay.
kooky
Oh
all the
my
Dr.
God, I
Bronner
knew
shit
that
is?
was accurate.
That's like Edgar Casey. It's
Okay.
like that, but more spiritual. Anyway, that's where my aunt got her castor recipe was like, if you stroke out, you put it in bags and you sleep on them.
Yeah, I mean, people have. I don't know, because I did go down the rabbit hole of I did After Midnight and I saw my neck. I was like, I need to do something.
You're so cute. What's After Midnight? Oh, that's
Taylor's
Taylor's show.
show.
Right.
Yeah.
Which that episode was so good.
It was fun.
That was really
but
good.
I was like, what the fuck is happening? Can I stop? So then I started going down the, I mean, so many women here's the thing, women don't get a lot of medical answers in real life medicine, right?
Right.
Correct.
So they're kind of forced to come up with their own shit. I think that kind of leads to QAnon and all that
you have
stuff.
to cross state lines, and then you have to come up with your own shit.
Yeah. So it's weird. There's always this weirdness, but then it's like, well, castor, it's not bad.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm just wasting my money rubbing, but it's not a supplement.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
It's so frightening, like how little women are, just in the medical industry, how little men know about women's bodies, or they don't even care. Like, I didn't know that NASA, when Sally Ride was an astronaut, they sent her 100 tampons. She was going to be there a week, 1 week. Yes, 1 week. And the tampons were strung together like sausage like sausage links. And she said, I'm not going to need this many.
Oh my
And they said, yes, just to be safe.
How long is she going to be stuck in space?
A week? I don't know. But I mean, how could they not know about a woman's menstrual cycle?
Men afraid that droplets of blood will just be floating all over the space shuttle. Yeah. Like, well, we got to stop it.
Well, then what are we going to do?
Oh my God.
Also,
she's going to flood the place with blood.
And like NASA always got red for mishandling all the tax money and things like that. People didn't like the way the funding was going. And that's why, because they're paying all this payload weight to get fucking
They probably
tampons
had paid a consultant to come up with that figure.
A male
instead of
consultant.
exactly.
Instead of asking a woman. I mean,
Right.
weren't any of them married, or didn't they have grow up with girls or anything to
No.
know?
I don't know what that goes on back there.
I don't know what goes.
Yeah.
My
down there.
That was the first time a woman's been that close to the moon.
You never know.
In her cycle?
she'll be cycling all day.
Oh my God.
What if she changes the moon?
You said-
Cancel it.
I feel like people who are living with AI, I feel like you start reading an article that's AI, and by the end of it, it's like, what am I reading? It's like, it's down this weird rabbit hole. I feel like when you said male consultant, I was like, oh, it sounds like AI. Like, that's all. We'll just
that's
ask
all there
that.
are. Yeah.
I want to go to. Would you go to space? I want
to. I would love to. I would really love to.
I would totally go.
Yeah,
Like
for
forever.
Shatner went. He's an idiot.
No,
Why can't I go?
I want to go to space. Like, not just up and down. I want to go like out, like to the moon.
You want to go like to Mars?
I would do it.
I bet by the time you're 70 or 80, that's a viable option.
To be honest, what a way to go.
Save
if I
up.
don't make it
Yes.
back,
I know.
fucking kiss my Mars ass goodbye.
Yeah.
I could dig on that.
If you start a 401k now and just keep adding to it, and say you don't tap into it till you're 85, that'll be a lot of money. You can just blow
85.
it, blow it all. Yeah.
You mean you can
trying.
just buy it? You could buy your own rocket.
I just no, because I feel like that's when
Because the way the ultra rich always buy yachts, you can just buy
a
your,
rocket.
your space vehicle.
I want
or
to
whatever.
be. I'm 42, but I'm still trying to be an influencer. So maybe I'll just get sponsored. My boyfriend just hosted this event where all these influencers came in, and 2 of them were like 15, and they have like millions of followers.
Wow.
And they had like a publicist.
Wow.
I was like, I quit. I
Yeah,
totally quit.
God.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with that.
What are they influencing people?
Nothing. And when they came in the room, they had to get the phone and they had to do the hey and high five and stage the whole thing, because then that's how they have to produce their reel and all that shit.
Yeah, my son's gonna take acting in his senior year, and he's like, "Am I too old?" I'm like, "No."
Oh my
just
God.
have fun.
God.
You don't have to become a professional actor.
He already thinks he's too
just
old.
have fun. Yeah.
How do you feel about that? His interest going into like that kind of stuff?
He wants to be an animator, so
Cool.
he's already into that. Yeah, he's
yeah.
working on something now.
Laura, I'm sorry, you grew up in San Francisco, right?
Walnut Creek, but it's in the East Bay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I'm worried because it feels like AI is coming for. aside from healthcare and changing old people's diapers, I don't know what job isn't.
Oh,
Here's the
yeah.
danger.
If we want to, we can pitch right now or brainstorm, but I think they said in 10 years, there's going to be more 65-year-olds than ever before.
I know.
And Martha Stewart refers to it as, I think it's called the silver surge when she says it. But yeah, so I'm trying to think of what do old people need, because there's going to be so many old people.
Yes.
And it is basically diapers.
Yeah.
Or like, I want to invent the machine that wipes your ass for you and throws it away, which I guess is just an unemployed comedian. That's what
No, that's a good idea.
No, so I'm worried. That's all.
Or you could just walk through bidets, right?
I feel just bring like tiptoe through the tulips, but now I'm just like
Yeah, no, but just
lumping through bidets.
I remember my friend and I, we went to a party when we were teenagers, and it was the one time, it was like the one really rich person in our hometown. And I knew what a bidet was, and she didn't know. And we were in there, and she goes, "Why would they have a fountain so close to the toilet?" And I said, "I don't know." I said, "Does it taste like regular water? Did you try it?"
Shut up.
Oh no!
And she tried it, and she goes, "Oh, it's just like."
God.
I said, "Maybe it's like spring water," and I said, "It's a bidet," and she said, "You asshole."
I would never speak to you again.
I know.
How cruel.
I was really an asshole. I still am. I don't know.
We would go look at like houses on the weekend, not to buy them, but just to go to open houses.
I
and
love
shit.
going to open houses.
Same.
Yes.
Do you ever go in the hills and drive around?
I haven't done that. I have like a very weird, like a little tiny, like Lockheed engineer's house, you know, like they built them in the 40s really quickly. And so I know all the houses that are my model, and everyone's added shit to their house. And so I'm constantly hoping they're for sale so I can walk in and go, what did you do with this wall? It's so inconvenient.
Yeah.
Like I look at all the pictures on Zillow and stuff, and I've stolen ideas from them because it's such a weird layout.
Can
know?
you go up? Could you build a floor up?
You could, yeah.
Because that's what our neighbor did. It was
What?
just loud
Just
as hell. No, they built it on to the top of their house. Like, because everything was below, you know, like the bedrooms were, which I don't like. I don't like a bedroom under the.
Yeah.
There's an old.
Because I feel like I'm going down anyway. I want to go up to go to.
to relax.
Right.
There's a Donald Duck cartoon where he has an angry neighbor, and they build a fence, and they just kind of build up, and they make each other angrier and angrier. And I was watching that recently, and I was like, man, I'm so old that I like totally understand Donald Duck. I'm like, I'm mad too. I'm like with him. I'm like, yeah, your neighbor fucking sucks. Like, you bought the house first, and that was your view.
Yeah.
And now it's gone.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, we used to go to open houses, and that was the first time I saw a bidet, and it was like a not complete house, right? So the bathroom was kind of raw, and we were with my grandparents and my dad and stuff. I was like, "What is that?"
Wait, the whole family
Oh,
would
we
go to
would
open
go,
houses?
yeah.
I love it.
On a weekend, we would
And
go.
did they pretend that they were interested in buying, or did they
Not at all.
openly
No,
just say we're here to look?
It was my father's whole game. He
Yeah.
just wanted to see houses because that's his passion.
Yeah.
And then we would get lured into it because if it had a second story, that was like a castle, right? Because we had a one,
Yeah,
we were
right,
one floor
right,
house,
right.
so that was enough fun for us. But when we saw a bidet, I remember asking my dad. He said bidet, like I fucking knew what that was. And then my grandmother, to illustrate it, squatted on it. She faced the wall. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't
Yeah.
you sit front on it?
I
I
think
have
so.
no
She
idea.
sat on it like a horse and showed me, like, not with the water, but she was like, this is how you do it. And like
You know,
demonstrated washing her pussy in front of me.
I think I
Wow.
might try sitting like that. That
Yeah.
seems because then you could flush the toilet here. You don't have to reach behind you.
Correct. Right.
What if we've all been doing it
There's a
wrong?
whole world about the people who sit on the toilet that way.
No.
And like they put their
still-
elbows up on the
I'm not over your
Interesting.
grandmother
Yeah.
not wearing underwear. I'm not going to get over
None
that.
of us are, Laura. That's what, none of us are.
But the other thing is I've thought before, if you're on a toilet and you kind of lean back, the back of your clothing touches
so
the touch
gross.
of the top of the lid,
So
which
gross.
has shit flushed
All over it.
it.
You don't.
Maybe you shouldn't be. Yeah.
Listen.
Well, I hover anyway. I won't even sit on the
I
toilet.
disrobe.
Not even our own toilet.
No, I like will take all my clothes off, and I have to shower afterwards if I come into contact with the toilet. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's
and then
disgusting.
if I'm outside in public, it's just not happening.
Yeah.
Like people who I take off all my, if I'm on an airplane and I'm about to go into the bathroom to take a piss, I take off every bulky article of clothing that might scrape the wall.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
I'm like, I'm not taking all of these poor people
Yeah.
home with me.
I was
Yeah.
trying to work on a joke about that, about how if you're you got to go within the first 30 minutes of the flight or hold it because it
It's
gets,
over.
every 10 minutes it gets grosser and grosser.
People are
my
animals,
God,
and my
yeah.
favorite thing is you go into the lavatory on an airplane, and it's a fucking shit show, and then you look over and there's just flight attendants on their phone.
Yeah.
And not that it's their job to clean it, but I'm like, can you book up?
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait, I want to get in, I don't know much about like you and like where you come from. Like, how did you get into comedy? What were your like influences as a kid, like up in Walnut Creek?
Oh, I had sort of had a depressive episode and had a complete collapse.
Yeah.
When? As a
Hell yeah.
teenager?
When I was like 19.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then as I was coming out of it, I was just trying to, I don't know. I was just just doing things. Right. So I went to some comedy shows and Dana Carvey was working clubs at the time, and he was like a murderer, and I'm like, how is this possible?
Yeah.
And I never was like, I'll be as good as Dana Carvey, but like a lot of people, I saw someone that wasn't that good, and they were working a lot, and I'm like, well, maybe I bet I could be funnier than that guy.
Yeah. For me,
I always
that
get
person
inspired.
was Jerry Seinfeld.
Joan
When
Rivers
someone's-
would have a weak opener, so she could come out hardcore.
Oh, really?
And it was when I saw one of her openers, I was like, well, I could
interesting,
do that.
yeah.
Because then she comes out like far. I was like, I want to do that, but
Yeah.
I can totally do that one.
Yeah.
But so it was the weak opener, and you were like, oh my god, I can't. Or,
Yeah, just this week, I just thought pretty average. Wasn't like, I thought Dana Carvey might have been the first live comic I saw. So that's why I thought you had to be that good all the time. And
Yeah.
then now I'm like, oh, you don't even have to be funny.
Yeah, God, it's so
but
true.
now,
At the time I was like, you can't be that good, then you shouldn't do it. And then I saw more shows and I'm like, oh, okay.
yeah. Was this SNL Dana Carvey era or pre?
Right before.
Okay.
So it was like the
yeah.
year before, and he was working the Punchline and the Foo Bars, which is in the East Bay, and Rooster Teeth Feathers. Punchline and Roosters are still open.
Yeah.
And just, working every couple weeks at a local club, murdering.
Lori,
selling
do you
out.
have sisters and brothers?
I have one sister.
And was she kind of into it too? Did anybody like kind of help you? Like who went to the clubs with you? Or did you
Nobody. I
just
went
go
by
yourself?
myself.
Oh wow.
Was it
Yeah.
a secret at first?
I don't remember if it was a secret. I don't remember. Yeah.
And then you were influenced by comedians, or you just happened to go to a comedy show and you were like, I can do this?
I think I hadn't seen a lot of stand-up. I remember seeing somebody at UCLA when I was there, and I just didn't like him. So I was like, oh, I don't like stand-up.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
so funny.
Steve Martin was already, like, that was from my childhood, but
Yes.
he just seemed abnormal. He wasn't like a stand-up like you'd see on The Tonight Show or anything
Totally.
like
He was a
that. So,
character.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it just wasn't like a thing that resonated with me.
You're such a brilliant writer. I think people really like turn
I
to
don't think so. I was just
Yeah.
thinking, I'm like, if I was really good, I would be working.
But you
You are working.
And
You
people-
work all the time.
I'm not. I haven't had a job since 2021.
No, I mean, but you do stand up all the time.
Yeah, but
and
that's
you've done
not
so many
that's not a
specials.
writing job.
Yeah. But okay, so I think pandemic/strike really just fucked the whole game up.
Oh, totally. I
right?
mean, Conan, I don't know if he'd still be on it if we hadn't had COVID, but he had it. I think he would have done a couple more years for
Yeah.
sure.
I don't think people realize the long-lasting effect of that. And
God,
then
I
to come out of
know.
the strike, it's just because then everything turned to the phone, and the game changed a little bit.
Yeah.
And television changed in that moment
Totally.
also. But
Yeah.
you wrote for Conan forever.
Yeah, like 11 years.
That's
yeah.
incredible. What was that like? How was writing on a television? Was that your first TV show?
No. I'd written on Tough Crowd was the first one I wrote on.
Okay.
Oh, was that Colin Quinn?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Colin.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, and there wasn't a ton of writing on that show. It was but it was a fun mess. Like I was so afraid of getting fired, the whole time because it was my first show. I
you're
actually have
just
been afraid ever since. Every time I start a job,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, they're gonna find out.
Well-
And then now that I haven't worked, I'm like, oh, they found out. They did find out I'm a fraud, and I'll never work
so
again.
funny.
But Conan was so much fun, and if you listen to his podcast, that's kind of how he is all the time.
Wow.
And so there are normal stresses that come with the job, and sometimes you don't get any jokes on, and you're like, oh my god, and
Yeah.
But other than that, it wasn't like a political show. Like it wasn't. There wasn't like a. Sometimes there could be like backstabbing or people trying to get to the next rung of writer or whatever, and so everyone was sort of on the same level, and no one.
That's awesome.
They didn't do that.
And Mike Sweeney was Mike Sweeney was on our
God.
show. Are you two
He's-
sometimes doing Conan like spots and stuff together? I mean, you were doing a show.
I was on his podcast with Jesse Gaskell, but
okay.
I mean, we sometimes will have all the writers will have lunch and stuff like that and catch up and stuff. He's great. He was the head writer when I was there
Yeah.
for half of it, and then Matt O'Brien took over, and both great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Is it hard to write for a show like that when you yourself are a working comedian and you're like, is it a joke that's good that gets shot down? Can I keep it? Or
No.
what's your jurisdiction on
Because
it?
nothing I do in my act would ever go in a Conan monologue or even as a sketch.
Although
you
I
know?
would love to see Conan say, "Look, as a single mom, can I say I've
He
been through
turned down all this jokes, so I kept him for myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it more trained my brain to think much more on the way he writes, which is way he likes jokes, set up
Yeah.
and punchline, 2 sentences and stuff like
See,
that.
that's what I mean when I say brilliant writer, because you really like hone in on like the craft and the mechanics of it. I love when you posted your transitions.
Oh, yeah,
things
yeah.
like that. Like you really pay attention to that part of writing, but you're also a really good comedian, which those two things don't always go hand in hand.
Oh, thank you.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
find a really good writer who just doesn't know how to like also be present or
yeah, who's not a good
confident
performer on stage.
on
Yeah.
stage.
Yeah.
What were the moments in like Conan stuff that was like exhilarating? Are you interested in meeting famous people? I am.
Not a lot. I would mostly hide, but I did. The 2 requests I made over 11 years were Carol Burnett.
Yes.
And I started crying when
Yeah.
I saw her. When I feel like a lot of women do, and she's like
She's
maybe a little over all the tears. But,
Oh,
but
really?
she was very nice.
Yeah.
But I was like, this must happen all the time because I was trying to be as cool as possible. But she means so much to a certain segment.
Yeah.
And so you would burst into tears when you see her.
100%.
I challenge either of you not to.
Yeah.
My dad wrote her fan letters in the Gary Moore days.
Wow.
And she wrote him back.
No.
And so it was her 80s or show called Carol and Company.
Yeah.
Richard Kind was on it. And I think there's other people, but I forget. I watched it and he was so excited that I was into whatever he was into.
cool.
That was the first time he brought me into their bedroom.
Yeah.
And I never saw under their bed. And he pulled this box out from under the bed and opened it, and there were the letters and the autograph that she wrote him back. He
my
wrote her
God.
twice, and I think she wrote him back twice.
That's amazing.
But that lit
he
the
kept
flame.
it?
Yeah, of course. But I would equally. She's from Texas.
Well, you know,
Yeah, that's right. San Antonio.
I remember watching the Carol Burnett show with my mother and thinking, I mean, that was, I think, the first time that actors, improvers, whatever, broke, and it was sincere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like
Yeah.
SNL when it's every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
And by breaking, if you don't know what that means, like that you just crack up
Yeah.
to make other people crack,
Yeah.
There was like a Carol Burnett reunion in the 90s that my
Yeah.
mom recorded on VHS.
Yeah.
And we would just pull it out and watch it. Like that shit is so funny to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they really tried. Like they would improv stuff like that they didn't rehearse because they wanted to crack
Fuck
each other
with each
up.
other. Yeah. Have you seen Mama's Family playing Sorry?
No.
I love that.
It's the funniest sketch in the world because Sorry used to come with a bell.
Yeah.
So every time you send someone, sorry, you ring the bell.
yeah.
And it's the bell that gets under your skin.
Oh, my
Because when I
God.
saw that sketch, I added it to our thing and we would play with it. And boy, you can be like, fuck you.
Ah.
And it really ups the
That's so funny.
aggression. in
I
the game.
love that sketch. I remember that.
It's the funniest one in the world. I will
Yeah.
watch it every day. We should watch it.
Oh, yeah. I
There's-
got to find it.
Also, they would do sketches that were like 11 minutes long. They
Yeah.
would do these epic long
Yeah.
sketches.
Yeah. She was incredible.
I'm
And
hoping
then,
to meet her. Who was the other?
Chrissy Hind from The
oh
Pretenders.
damn!
And she scared me.
How come? What did she do? Did she punch you?
No.
No, but I had a copy of her latest album, and oh wait, did I? Maybe she had a copy. She signed a copy to me. But when I met her, and I was like I'm sure again, there's like women my age that are like Chrissy Hind, right?
Yeah.
And our favorite song is Precious, right? All of us, right? So I was like, I'm a comic. What do I want compliments on? 10, 20-year-old bits or the new stuff? So I picked some songs from her new album. I'm like, I love this song. And she like got happy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I think she
great.
was expecting Precious or Brass in Pocket, you know,
yeah.
and I forgot what it was. It was Cymbeline or something like that. It is a good song.
Kid, my only.
Yeah,
Kid.
yes.
Is it called Kid? That song?
I don't know.
I think it is called Kid. Yeah. Oh, that's
I
such
love
a
it.
great-
Amazing
think-
song.
Yeah.
I have a book called Ghost Stories of Texas, and
Yeah.
the Driscoll Hotel in Austin is
Ooh.
haunted, and I think it's Chrissy Hind that has a ghost story about not knowing which dress to wear a lady killed herself in the hotel and because her husband was cheating on her, and so she went and spent all of his money shopping, went back to the hotel with all of her clothes, and then killed herself, right?
Oh my God.
And like the best dress. So then people think that ghost is haunting the hotel. So Chrissy Hine is mentioned in the book because she couldn't tell what dress to wear. So she went and took a shower. And when she came back, one of the dresses had been like hung up in the closet or something.
Wow.
The ghost.
Does Chrissy Hine wear dresses?
I was just
don't
going to say,
think
I
Oh,
think
there
I've
was an award show or
only
something.
seen her in jeans.
I swear. I'll
Or
look it up.
leather
I'll
pants.
Oh,
confirm
no, I'm
this.
sure, I'm sure.
Ghost Stories of Texas. It's out of print.
Wow. Yeah, so she signed an album, and then I guess her handwriting was sloppy to her, so she went, sorry, this is hard to read, or something like that. But I was like,
Yes.
So those are the only two. And then one time, Dick Van Dyke was just hanging out in the green room, and he wasn't in his dressing room, he was in the common area. And so we all just sort of stood near him. Yeah.
Dick Van Dyke and Carol Burnett, though, those are pretty much the ones.
Oh, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
Those are epic.
Yeah.
The first time I met Laura and we went out, or we were out at a bar right by Akbar, I can't remember where, but Laura was like, come sit down and have a drink. And so I was sitting down, and I remember when I turned around, all my friends had just done that. All of a sudden there they were, just like hanging out near Laura.
Oh, neat.
I remember looking around, I was like, y'all aren't even talking to me. You're just looking at her. It's true, though. I remember that. I can name
great.
names. Dick Van Dyke is shocking because he's 98.
Something
Yeah.
like that. He
Yeah.
swims every day, too, I think.
He
He's an avid
swims.
swimmer.
That makes sense.
In the
I wanna do
Pacific?
that. Yeah.
I doubt that, but
I want to be a swimmer. Hi, puppy.
he has a much younger wife, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, that's why he has that whole Larry King syndrome.
Who doesn't though?
yeah,
We were
at that
talking
age,
about-
if you're
yeah.
a famous old, I mean, why not? I guess
Johnny Carson was like, he didn't marry young. There's always blonde and named Joanne, right?
he had
Oh, yeah.
3 Joanne. I think 2 Joannes and a Joanna, and
Yeah.
then he struck a gold with Alex. That was his last
That was
wife,
the one,
and he saw her when she was jogging in a swimsuit on the beach.
Oh my God.
I was like,
Wow.
all right.
And he's the richest man and everything.
yeah.
Were you like a big Carson fan? Is it weird? Was it weird working in late night, or was that ever something you thought you'd be doing?
And I never, that always seemed like a guy's job,
Mm-hmm.
and no one ever said I should do it. Like, I need a lot of encouragement. Like, you should try this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. If you think I can, then maybe I'll try it. Like, it never comes from me, which
Were
is.
there a lot of other women writing on Conan?
When I was there, I was the only one. And then, but that later, yeah, Leah Krinsky wrote for a while,
Oh,
and
great.
Jesse Gaskell. Yeah.
What's that?
And then Glenn, oh my God, Glenn Boozin. Wrote. It's weird because Jesse and Glenn both have like guys' names. So even on the list,
that's
it's
so
very guy
funny.
heavy, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Does that phase you at all, being the only woman in a writer's room? How many adjustments do you make, or do you like?
I think it's probably not that common anymore. I may have been right when it just about to end.
Yeah.
You know, that whole trend of
in the right was Laurie is one of the few women who had a rider as a writer. She had a rider, so she ordered 100 tampons.
and I needed them stuck together. I did.
I want to be able to hang them across the wall.
Jeez.
Because you and Jackie Cation
Yeah.
are always highlighting female comedians. You
Yeah.
do Comedian of the Week, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's always
yeah.
a female, which I love. So you're always pushing people out there. So I just wonder if that was always something that was like harder, made the job harder in any capacity. But even though the goal you're working for Conan was a man, so like you're writing for that man.
Yeah,
I mean.
it's always better not to be the only thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's just so the presence of somebody else just takes the heat off you completely,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, I mean the more the merrier, you know.
You're back on the road. Are you touring right now?
Yeah, that's how I'm making money now.
Yeah, same.
Not enough.
Yeah, same. COVID made me think I never wanted to be in a hotel again.
Yeah.
I never thought I would ever could be on an airplane. It grossed me out.
Yeah.
And then clubs, really, I was like, I don't know how I'm ever gonna want to be in a room with that many people ever again.
Right.
What was that like for you? Because COVID was an intense thing for you.
I take a lot of precautions now. Like, I haven't had it yet, and I
Me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of I mask a lot off stage when I'm with people. I bring an air purifier and I put it right front and center in front of the mic stand.
You do.
And so
That's so Celine Dion. She does.
she really?
It's humidifier.
oh,
But
interesting.
That bitch
yeah.
makes it wet.
I always
Yes.
think about that when you're going on stage. Like, can you wipe the mic before the last person? You can't because that would be offensive. Right?
Margaret does, and we do separate mics.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
I haven't. I guess I don't get that close to the mic.
Okay.
But sometimes your lips touch and you're like, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When then you start thinking thinking about the feature going, what did he do today? Or what?
Beth Stelling.
You go over their bits.
They did
Yeah.
the soft opening of the Jimmy Kimmel Club, and I featured for Beth Stelling, and the manager or whatever came back to Beth. It was like, hey, it's our first time. Just, anything you can see or know. She goes, clean the mics. That was like the
Nice.
first thing Beth Stelling said.
I love
She's like,
it.
Yeah, just clean the mics.
I love it.
I
That's
was
great.
like, what a pro
Yeah.
savvy thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely for COVID, it's airborne, so it's not you're not going to get it from a mic, but yeah. So I do like nasal spray, antiviral nasal spray a lot.
Yeah.
And I was just doing it in your driveway.
Yeah.
It's like a peppery one. It like makes my head go for a second. And then I'm always like on the lookout. I have a COVID list on Twitter and
What is that?
just like a list of people talking about little things. Like there'll be like a little study. There's a new little study. If you put a little bit of Neosporin at the
my
base of
God.
your nostrils,
Oh, yeah.
that's another. It's all just an extra layer, and COVID can get through it. But
Yep.
if I'm hoping that plus nasal spray plus boosters protects me like right now.
Yeah.
You know
And
what
that
I mean?
sound
Totally.
outside
Yeah.
is what Lori brought with her. It's the it's a hydro-powered humidifier.
That's
so
the
that
air
when she
purifier.
walks outside, she's not gonna walk into any like.
I used to think when I was a cigarette smoker, I used to really think that was my shield.
Yeah,
That,
right.
Although it was slowly destroying me on the inside, it
Yeah.
was a barrier from everything from the outside. 'Cause
Yeah.
the minute I quit, all of a sudden I have like the flu.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
I have like allergies now. I was like, man, it was this dead zone that nothing could survive through.
You know, I think if I remember correctly, at the beginning of COVID, they said smokers weren't being affected as badly
'Cause it was
Wow.
because I guess a lot of the lung had already been destroyed.
It couldn't absorb
like
the
the
virus.
healthy lungs people are like, what the fuck? And smokers are like, it's no big deal.
It's fine. We've seen worse. I have a neighbor, or the neighbor underneath me, who I've talked. He's like an animal abuser and a horrible
Little
person.
baby. Oh, I know. I want. What's going on with that person?
And he has a girlfriend, which is
he's a what?
he,
An animal
he is a
abuser?
psycho. Yeah.
Oh, no.
I've heard him before, but not recently. But he's been animal control's been called, the cops been called, all that kind of
Oh
stuff.
my gosh.
He's just an angry young white man, which is like the worst person.
Right.
But he also, and I can tell, there's people who smoke weed and they want to make themselves cough because it gets you higher.
Oh no.
Oh.
And like vape especially is a thing where you inhale as much as you can, then you and that son of a bitch does that 7-8 times a day. You can hear him like knocking. So it's really fun to have a new puppy because we're playing like fetch all the time, and you hear this like.
I love it.
But I got really bad because I downloaded an MP3 of man coughing. And I have a speaker, a portable speaker. So when he chimes in, I just push play and it's
I love it.
on the floor, right? To like, I'm like, if you can hear this, I can hear you, kind of thing. But then I heard them having sex. And
yuck.
it was right when it sounded like he was about to climax, and I got the speaker and I put it on the ground, and I fucking went. Bleh. So I'm trying to get in the brain that he like he
Oh
can't
my
come
God.
unless he's coughing, right? That's what I want to get like fuck with his brain. I can't. Yeah.
You shouldn't have children, Daniel.
No, I'm too vengeful. See, I'm a bad messenger. Because COVID time made me angry. I used to
Yeah.
not be an angry person. Now I am. And then that's when, because the coughing really pushed me over the edge.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like, I made a playlist on Spotify for when he was being loud, and it's nothing but like Spice Girls, Tori Amos remixes,
love it. I
the
love
Bjork
it.
songs, but only with the like Greenland throat singers and stuff. And I named the title of the playlist "Bitch, I Live Upstairs."
Oh my
Nice.
God.
Because normally the
that's
upstairs
great.
person has to be the nice one, right?
Yeah.
You kind of have all the power.
Yeah.
But I'm like, don't fuck with the upstairs person.
No, don't.
Yeah.
Never.
That's
Yeah.
such bad.
I really want that guy out though, just because I want the dog to be rescued.
His girlfriend, I want to shake that poor woman and be like, anything is better than this. Like, I'll fight. Like,
Yeah, I mean, you can be alone too. It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
terrible.
loneliness is great.
Yeah.
Now I have a puppy. I didn't realize how much I love loneliness. I was this close to
Solitude.
finishing a painting.
Yeah.
So close to finishing. I've been working on it. I've been home. I'm just staring at it while he's eating my socks. I'm like, what have I done? I mean, I like motherhood.
What an angel he is.
He's so
though.
cute, right?
Yeah.
He has to get his nails clipped. But I want to paint him like a Dalmatian. Right? or a giraffe.
Paint a Dalmatian for him to look at.
Yeah, no, paint him on.
I see.
Yeah, like put spots on him.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
can you dye dog hair like that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There's psychos out there.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah,
I forgot to mention that Laurie's a body painter.
Well, I'm glad you got projectionist in. That was very
Yes.
important to me. A lot of people overlook my skills.
What were you when you were doing comedy? What else were you doing before it was paying your bills and stuff?
I did telephone sales. Yeah. Telephone solicitor.
Yep, I
Yeah.
did that. Well, I did AT&T long distance.
I did. Were you good at it?
No, in
Yeah,
fact, they
horrible.
moved me to the low sales, which was the non-English speakers, because they were like they wanted the numbers called, but they didn't get if you bombed, you bombed.
Did you do the fake voice and all that stuff? Or
I had a fake name.
Yeah, yeah.
And
your fake
I
name?
think it was like Mary Jo Kennedy. I did Kennedy all the time, and then I tried to make it.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's like Mary Jo Botafuco.
Yeah, or Marietta Kennedy, right?
That's
and I was
good.
also I
Rose
was like,
Kennedy.
This is Rose Kennedy.
Of course, it's going to be really slow.
I'm calling from yet another son's funeral to let you know that.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking of wait, the daughter that was lobotomized. What was
Rosemary.
her name? Rosemary. Yeah. Rosemary. This is Rosemary Kennedy.
One of my favorite. It's on Roseanne. Oh,
He did that behind her back, by the way.
Of
Rose
course.
had worked with Rosemary who she may have had some sort of whatever you can
could
speculate.
have been on the spectrum. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
So she worked her ass off with Rosemary to try to get her to act acceptable, so she wasn't acting out in public, because then that would make her more isolated because no one would want to be near her, right?
Yeah.
And then behind Rose's back, Joe just lobotomized Rosemary and turned her into a vegetable.
Yep. Well, there's
Horrible
nothing
guy.
like a sibling on the spectrum to cock block all the adultering that goes on
Yes.
in the family. But didn't she was it Wisconsin or someplace?
Don't remember.
See, I thought it was because she was flirting with boys. I honestly did. Like, I thought it was like, oh, well, she's a wild child.
She wasn't as spectacular as the other siblings. She wasn't when you had all these kids with these major accomplishments. I think in Joe's mind that added to her inferiority or why she needed to be medicated or whatever, however he justified it, because he has all these
Superstars.
alpha superstar kids, and she just wasn't. I think in the socializing though, I don't think she had the charisma that JFK did.
Well, if she was, just acting oddly, it's something that draws attention.
Get rid of
in
her.
the family.
Yeah.
The royal family did the same thing.
But
Queen Elizabeth had two cousins that were something was going on.
Well, the Andrew shit,
And they were just put into like an institution.
I believe wherever she was institutionalized, he donated a bunch of money, and I think she had like her own house on the. I might be speaking out of turn, but like he gave enough to kind of put her away.
Who did?
Joe Kennedy.
Oh, right.
Like,
yeah.
paid
yeah,
a bunch to like house her.
Right.
So
So
that
she's
she could
treated,
be.
I guess, as well as you could be if you're a
But also,
vegetable,
like,
but yeah.
away.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
I'm obsessed. We just watched, I just watched some interview with RFK Jr.'s wife.
Oh, yeah.
Cheryl Hines?
Yeah. And I'm like, how do you split that atom? Like, how
I don't
on
know.
earth do you, when you have kooks for brains? Also, I was just in Huntington Beach, and there's nothing but RFK Jr. signs everywhere. I'm like, we're so doomed.
Oh, my God.
I mean, when that came out about the worm in his brain, I was like, now I have to like go back and believe the National Enquirer.
He is Bat Boy. He's totally Bat Boy. Does it? Okay, so you're. I'm like terrified of the future, and only recently. I used to be optimistic about the next like 70 years, but
Yeah.
now I'm totally not.
Yeah.
What is it like being the like mom of a person who's about to enter adult world?
It is scary.
right?
I really am worried about, climate collapse. What's gonna just water wars, all that kind of stuff. Stuff I never would have thought about before. And then making a living, housing prices here. Nothing. No one seems to be doing anything about how expensive it is to be an American.
Yeah.
If you got lucky and you got a house with like decent interest rates, you're okay. But then there are people that are I look at in my neighborhood and the mortgage they would have to pay to own the piece of shit house that I have. It's like jaw dropping. How can
Wow.
people? How can this keep going?
The only way to be a home buyer in this country now is if you're already a homeowner. That's the only way you can buy another house.
Yes. Yeah.
That I just like to me, I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? And the kids are already on the. You remember envelope stuffing was like the gig you
yeah.
wanted back in the day. Like telemarketing was a good
Yeah.
do nothing kind of a job.
Yeah.
While you just kind of.
I worked actually pretty hard at it.
You did? Oh, sorry. I didn't. I was coloring. I was drawing. I was doing everything. But I would hang up on people when the call came through. They'd be like, "Hello." I would just click it off.
I love it.
I thought the karma was too bad.
Yeah.
Like I had the job, but I thought I was.
It never felt good.
No,
No.
never.
No, does Atticus say your generation has fucked everything up for us?
It was the one before.
Really, the one.
Yeah, the one before.
Yes, it's
I know. I'm just wondering. Like, I'm just.
He doesn't
thinking,
come after me personally. No.
Okay, good. That's good.
I just feel like because
You've got
I
a
was
great
trying to. Does he? What is old to a kid right now? Because I'm 42. I'm old to someone who's like 16, 17, 18.
I don't know. His music he listens to is from the 90s. So
Like what?
Jamiroquai.
Oh, yeah,
and,
we
yeah.
talked
And
about
he started listening to the Ink Drops, Frank Sinatra. It's.
wow.
I'm like, where are you even hearing this stuff? You know?
Yeah, yeah.
TikTok.
Yeah.
It's all
I guess
there,
so. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What were? Yeah. So, what concerts did you go? Did you ever go to concerts back in
I
the day?
didn't go to a lot of concerts.
You said Bruce Springsteen.
I saw Bruce once. Pretenders, B-52s.
Hell yes. Do you know that song "Ain't It a Shame" by the B-52s? It's real sad.
I don't know. I think I do. Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
The last words were, "I liked your Chevy Duster. I liked your brand new trailer.
Oh shit! I've got to listen.
I
to
liked your color TV, but you liked that color TV more than me."
Oh my God, I love it.
I'm like, B-52s are poetry.
I just listened to Essentials on a long drive, and I was like, Planet Claire didn't get what it deserves.
Knees,
Yes.
they're very like stellar to me.
Yeah.
Like they're kind of galactic.
Yes, yeah.
Ain't it a shame? I was on a plane and it came on, and it was one of those like I'm looking out a window, I'm tired, but I was just coming back home from like a gig.
Yeah.
And I literally was like just crying. And I looked over. It was a small plane. It was a 1-seat, 2-seat, and on the 2-seat there were just these two businessmen kind of looking at me. I was like, "Oh, this doesn't look happy, but it is happy."
Oh, I love to cry on a plane.
It's the
looking
best
out
place.
the window. Yeah.
Mask, hood,
Yes.
headphones,
Yeah.
tears.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then they serve you a
In
cookie.
that order.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then they serve you a fucking cookie.
Oh well, someone's in first class at that point. If
No,
they're being served a
never.
cookie.
They never. I love being in the seat right behind first class.
I'm
where
just
you can see
crying
the
because
hot
I know
food.
I can't jump.
Did you that plane that dropped out of the sky a couple days ago?
Oh right.
yeah, in
Somebody
Singapore?
died,
Or-
right?
Someone
Yeah.
died.
Yeah, because they weren't seatbelted in.
Which no, they had a heart attack.
Ooh.
Old person had a heart attack.
Okay.
I know, which is such a ripoff because if they'd lived, they could sue the shit out of the airline industry and
They
never work
might
again.
still be able
Yeah,
to
yeah.
a little bit, but
Yeah.
yeah, not as much.
Right? Your experience with your parents, you've talked a lot about their deaths online and in your act and everything, and you've written books or a book, but the experience with your mom over Twitter in real time was so compelling and funny. That was the darkest thing, is that in the very succinctness of Twitter, you were able to really wrap up these complex thoughts about what was going on politically in the world, what was going on personally with you, and physically with your mom. You weren't able to be in the room with her a lot of the time. I
Yeah.
remember at the last minute you were able to.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
you were very close to your mom. Like you're
Well,
a
she-
mama's. What I'm like a mama's woman, I would guess, because
You
I'm
are.
still so close to my mother.
You
It's
love
nuts.
Holly.
Yeah.
She sounds like you. Y'all
'cause
sound alike.
I know, because it's just always been just the two of us.
I heard
Yeah,
her on
right, right.
speakerphone,
Yeah.
and she sounds just like her mom.
Yeah. My mom is this big and loves Trump, but
See,
Oh,
just
is your
like her
mom a Trump lover too? What is with you? Yeah, my mom lived with me for 4 years because I needed help with childcare, and my dad had died, and she shouldn't have been alone, you know. Like so, she lived in my little. It was 1,000 square feet, 1 bathroom, 3 generations.
Yeah.
4 years. It was a while, and so we were close, but we fought, or you know, it was some mother daughter stuff for sure, you know. But yeah, she got COVID. She was diagnosed with. She went to a skilled nursing facility because she had hurt her hip or something, and she got it there. And then they took her to Huntington Hospital. And so it was a week long from your mom tested positive to she died. And so we were, my sister came down, stayed at the house, and we had my mom on the iPad the whole, like at one point, we had her on for like 2.5 days straight. Basically, they just didn't turn it off, and it was a slow, like it was just a little bit of a dip. So the medical staff was able to hook her back up if she logged off or something like that. She was unconscious the whole time. We were just talking at her, and we lobbied pretty hard to get in to visit her, and they weren't allowing visitors. Other hospitals were. So my sister's a psychiatrist. She belongs to a Facebook group of women physicians, and she got them to sign this huge letter. And then I was, complaining on Twitter and posting the phone number of the hospital. I'm like, let us see our mom. And so we got in on a Tuesday and got to hang out. We, totally dressed like in beekeepers outfits and, couldn't touch her skin. I mean, now we know I could have definitely held her hand, but I guess I didn't know that then.
Yeah.
So, and then, I went back home and realized we'd never see her again. It was a really weird drive back from Pasadena, leaving that hospital. And then she died, I think, on Thursday. So we saw her 2 days before she died. But we were watching as she just stopped breathing. It's like, the breath, like I had noticed with my dad as they're dying, as they're powering down, they take a breath and then there's like a long period of time and then they take another one. But it's the periods between the breaths start to increase. And so I saw that happening with my mom and I'm like, ugh, I think it's happening. So we were just kind of hanging out and watching and talking, not knowing if she could hear us or anything. But, and then she stopped. Then there was no next breath. And then we called the hospital and said, she's like, we were more aware, or maybe they had machines or something like that. But we were like, oh, she stopped breathing. I think she died. And then they came in the room and
Dang.
Well, we're
like, can you please take our number down from Twitter? We need to clear the phone line. But the whole time that what you just described was going on, you were putting it in words and putting it out there. Everything you just told me, I sort of had a clue in because I was basically following it as it was happening. Have you ever thought to really put those words somewhere or together, because it was such a compelling experience as an outsider? Or is it just too personal or something that's like back there? It was really compelling to read. And I thought you were really nailing it because you're being really funny while being so personal and open about something so crazy or so raw.
Yeah, it was weird because it was in June of 2020, so COVID
early.
was still really new. And I remember that I had read a lot of people talking about losing somebody after they had been lost, and this was, I think, the first time someone was like walking people through it as it was happening.
Yes.
So I don't know. I mean, I wrote a book about my dad, so I feel like I hit a lot of those notes already.
Laurie does death of family members the way other women, do their kids. I have to have a second kid so I can get an hour. And so
it's the reverse Ali Wong. But I just was really like, it was such a, like, I can't think of another word besides compelling, but it was so fascinating to be walked through that in real time with you. And June was really early. I did a special in the parking lot of the Rose Bowl in July.
Oh my God.
I have to remind people, I'm like, this was still very early in the experience of COVID, right?
And there was no vaccine on the horizon.
None of it.
We were all just like, is this it forever?
Ever.
That's why I got a puppy.
But the way, but the way I relay it, because I was talking about like how mental it was to try and tape something, then I was like, but it was still so early, like only 30,000 people had died. Like it was nothing, right? And then those numbers were crazy. But I don't know. The reason I asked that is because coming out of COVID and trying to find like work and creativity, to me, it was really hard to find anything funny. And I didn't lose a parent or anything. I just lost everything else. But it was like, is any of this funny? And the industry changes and it's just the job was harder. How do you stay focused as like a writer and stuff?
It's hard right now.
Yeah, things are still really, I feel like it's a ghost town. Like it's still so slow.
Everybody went to New York.
Yeah. Oh, they did?
Or they are. But
Yeah.
you have a pretty, you have a writing regimen, right? Like you have, like, do you do like writing hours? And things
No,
like that? Oh, you
I
don't?
don't. No,
Oh, I always thought you did.
No. Oh no.
I want to so bad.
Like you don't do like,
think
I
about it.
don't, but
I
like,
know. I visualize you. I'm like, I bet Laura's in this office from 10 to 2 every day.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Strict
Laurie,
hours.
I'll show you exactly what I do from 10 to 2. I've been wallpapering. I found peel and stick wallpaper.
Oh.
So I've been wallpapering the whole effing
Oh
house.
yeah, it's true.
Oh, that's not paint?
No, see, I've got to look. This is okay. This is
She's going this way.
this was like
I love it.
It
Slowly.
was, yeah.
So this was 3 a.m. last night. I got this far. But you know what? I realized that if it's peel and stick, if you have like this is like a grass
Oh, sorry.
spot,
Uh-huh.
you can't tell how shitty it is. Like it doesn't
Ah.
match. You get that kind of a. When
I
it's
love
a
it.
pattern. You can't really.
Oh,
but
right,
that's
right,
easy.
right.
You were up
That's
at
easy.
3 a.m. doing that shit?
Oh God, yeah.
Wow.
You said you don't sleep, right?
I go in and out. I mean, I'm sleeping better. I actually I bought some of Cheech and Chong's gummies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What do you think?
Not
But you-
bad. I mean, they work. They put me down. I do take a little melatonin too.
Laura, you should. Are they sponsors of your podcast?
They aren't.
How about it? They should be.
I agree.
You just, well, you know.
I know.
We'll let 'em- we'll
you
let
should
'em know.
bleep
You
the
plug it.
name and make them pay you to say it.
Exactly.
No, I mean you should be. You're using it, so you should be. They should be sponsoring you.
We can use
for your
it too,
podcast.
Lauren. Let's
Oh, wait a minute.
Go now.
Okay.
Let's get it before they.
Trying to chase away money.
So gummies put me to sleep. They make me crazy hungry, but they put me to sleep. But melatonin gives me like acid dreams.
It gives me terrible dreams.
Right?
Yeah.
Like-
I think it gives a lot of people bad dreams.
Have you ever taken
Yeah.
melatonin?
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, that was awful. I remember I took it and it was the first time I took it, I felt like the window was open and there was a pterodactyl on the window. And then I had this thing of like, do I tell someone that then it will be in captivity? What do I do? I had this whole like fucking conscious, like, what am I going to do about this pterodactyl? I will never ever take melatonin
You
again.
were worried that the pterodactyl was going to be like farmed or some shit.
I
or,
don't
like,
know.
I love it. I mean, how many dreams do you remember? Melatonin, maybe you're
Yeah,
always
that's true.
dreaming like that, and melatonin helps you remember it.
I
don't
remember
know.
my dreams. You don't.
Not really.
I don't bore people and tell them about it, but I remember them.
I remember.
I didn't mean to call you boring. That was actually fascinating. Sorry.
No, I've got a really boring
No, it
one.
was-
No, I remember telling my psychiatrist that I had a dream and that was really, really gory, that I was running in a field with another person, and at the end of this field, there was like a platform, and there were people like squatted down, and there were like people that were like with hooks taking the backs off people, and then there was like a monster that came in and was like taking their organs out and eating them, or like a thing like that. Wow. And they were screaming and blah 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 all the way down. And my psychiatrist said, "Does that bother you?" And I said, "Not really."
Why not become a horror writer? If you
that was
a
you,
month in Joshua Tree, sleeping to melatonin every night, you have an anthology.
Lori, I did. I've written a horror film actually about something horrible that really happened. About the Picton farm murders. I wrote about.
What the fuck is that?
Ooh, it was awful. The guy who killed all these women, and in Canada they have like indigenous,
yeah.
women and all these really poor people in the outskirts of like Vancouver, I guess, and people who were on drugs and can't get help, and all this, and they were killing these women, the sex workers, and they'd go missing, and then nobody looks for missing sex workers.
That happens here too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so anyway, the Pictons, Robert Picton, Picton, Robert Picton killed somewhere in the neighborhood of 48 women since the 80s. And he had just recently, this friend sent me an article that he was like beaten badly in prison. He might not live, but I was just like, holy God. Like, and the thing is, it was on a pig farm. So they would kill the women and then feed their
them
bodies
to
to
the
a pig.
pigs.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And that's why my screenplay is called The Food
Canadian
Chain.
bacon.
Damn you.
What'd you say? What?
Canadian bacon.
No, I would call it The Food Chain, but yeah, Canadian
That's
bacon.
so
my
fucked
God.
up.
Yeah. And I feel like they kind of brushed it under the rug. It happened in 2010 and happened in Canada. I feel like that nobody really knows about it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So
That's
I wrote a horror
crazy.
film about something that is a horror film.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Is that why you're
horrible.
vegetarian?
No, yeah.
How-
Partly.
Because you could be eating people.
Well, because pigs are so smart.
They are.
They're smarter than my cousins.
The pigs would eat the meat, but not the bones, right?
Well, yeah, they just how they
How did they
eventually-
discover?
Well,
Yeah.
that's
since
exactly
the pigs
it.
are eating the evidence.
They found in some guy was hired to help with the animals on the farm. It was at like a slaughterhouse, and when they were feeding the pigs, they found a finger in the pig feed, and so
Sir, there's a finger in my feed.
So did he run to tell the serial killer, hey, there's a finger in the feed?
Oh my God, fatal. Yes.
well, I don't know exactly. I think he went to the police.
Thank God.
but
What if
something
he was like, you'll never believe this?
I
And
know.
oh my God.
Well, you'll never believe this.
Yes.
Yeah,
Ding, ding.
exactly.
I'm obsessed with that horrible moment you realize that you're facing the murderer. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
yeah,
when people,
right.
that moment where
Right.
you're like, uh-oh, like that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that fucking state of fear. We just watched this whole thing. We fell asleep to it. It's called the Lake Erie Murders, which we thought was just one girl, but there's a whole series about it, like season
Shit.
2, 3, 4. Yeah.
That's where I was born.
Well, when we woke up, it was still on. It was
In Erie,
another
Pennsylvania.
girl named Shannon who was missing or some shit.
Wow.
But they're all that. It's like, I don't know. I'm obsessed with the anatomy of like a murder.
Oh, just the moment when you agree to help Ted Bundy because of his cast and he throws you in the van.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that feeling.
Yeah, our friend Chris Young was on the podcast. He's friends with Debbie Harry, and she believes that she was picked up by him on Broome Street or whatever in Manhattan, and she rolled out of his car. At some point, she just jumped out of his car because she realized like this guy's.
Because he took the locks off, so you couldn't
You couldn't
Yeah.
get out.
Yeah,
Couldn't
so
get
she
out.
had to like jump out of the car.
Who was the guy? Robert Rodriguez? No, that's the director. Who was the guy
the Night Stalker.
That
Ramirez.
Yeah,
right.
Ramirez.
We just watched all about
Incredible
that.
cheekbones.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just
honestly.
do the compliments first.
Oh my
Yeah.
god! Yeah,
Well,
he was really sexy.
Also, don't leave
He-
out those piercing eyes.
Yeah, he could have been like a regular famous person.
Totally. And then killed.
yeah,
He could have done it.
and not been caught.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Would have
let's
let
admit,
him
you have
off.
to have a certain amount of charm and a certain amount of magnetism to be
Yeah.
a serial
To
killer.
lure. But there's
I
lots.
guess.
There's lots of people who got away or people he let go. There's a lot
Really?
of people who he would like release. Yeah.
And what did they do to get released?
Exactly. That's the whole mystery because they live with that kind of survival.
They started talking about their dreams.
There.
He's like, I can't take
This is so goddamn
Like,
boring. Go.
So wait, where are you playing next? Where can people find you?
Ooh, I have a nice little run coming up next weekend, May 31st, June 1st. I will be in Burlington at the Vermont Comedy Club.
Fantastic.
June 5th, I'll be at the Helium in Portland.
Yeah.
And June 7th and 8th, I'll be at the Laughing Tap in Milwaukee.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Laurie, when you arrive at a place, do you rent a car and drive around, or are you good at finding places and all that stuff?
Well, I used to when the weeks were longer in the 90s and early 2000s. It was
Yeah.
like a Thursday through or a
Yeah.
Tuesday. Some of them
Yeah.
were Tuesday through Sunday. Like you had to
I
rent a
remember that.
car, or you would just die, right?
Be tough.
Yeah.
But now I just no. I bring a lot of stuff now. I just got a portable blender. Again, here's another product I'm going to recommend for no compensation. Ninja
Yeah.
makes a portable.
I have it.
It's incredible.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I bring because I want to eat
Smoothies.
well. Yes, exactly.
I bring my own fruit. I bring
Same.
it all. I get milk at the airport.
Okay.
And I get it if I'm connecting. I get it at the connecting because you'll be coming in too late to get it,
Yes.
right? And then I arrive at the hotel with all my ingredients, and I have a smoothie, and it's like heaven.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah. The one time I won't use it I need the sink to be out of the bathroom. I need another
Oh,
sink. I
right.
can't do that. I can't wash
Right.
it. But yeah, I've started bringing like
Why don't you do
protein
it?
powder.
Why don't you do it in the shower?
I can't. No, I can't do.
Oh, okay.
It's a parts
What
per
about the
million
ice
thing.
machine?
Oh, well, if I'm going to get meningitis, I want it to be from like a really fancy hotel. Okay, wait. What else can we plug for you? You have your podcast.
Oh,
with
I have
Laurie.
I have a podcast called The Jackie and Laurie Show with Jackie Cation. And I have a special called Cis Woke Grief Slut.
Nice.
It came out in January, and it's streaming a lot of places.
It's great. I saw little pieces of it. I saw
you
like
did?
little ads for it. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
So good. So funny.
It's free on Tubi. It's
Yes.
free on United Airlines right now. And if you have
Yay.
Amazon Prime, it's free. And then I think you might have to pay like $5 on YouTube or Apple Plus or something like that. But it's Comedy Dynamics show shoves it everywhere.
Oh, that's
And
so
if you're
good.
international, you can watch it on Vimeo. Yeah.
It'll be the smartest $5 you ever spent.
This was a pleasure. I'm such a
Laurie,
fan. I'm
you're
happy
thank
to have
you.
you
Thanks
here.
so
Yeah.
much.
I'm
Thanks
so
for
glad
having
we
me.
Yay.
Me too.
Thank
Yay.
you.